Wickd was comfortable in that particular matchup, and we'll see if the teams agree.
What is the counter? That's the question.
Well, Swain worked pretty well.
That is true. We'll see if it works this time around.
Well, that was against Maokai, though.
Taken away. Kog'Maw is out there. I wonder if SK are maybe going to focus the AD carry. Tabzz was 10-0-8, remember. See, Orianna taken away by Alliance, focusing on towards Jesiz, forcing him maybe on towards that. Remember, first pick for SK. Maokai, of course, still out there, expecting Alliance to be the one that bans that away this time around.
Kassadin open, Maokai open, Alistar open. Big picks, Braum still open. These are priority champions, and Alliance gets to ban one of them.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting that Nami ban. You instantly saw conversation between Shook, Tabzz, Nyph, everybody discussing this one. Clearly, a lot of thought required. They know that SK are going to get hands on something. The question is, do they go for two themselves? Kassadin was banned out. That means we're going to see the big tree in that top lane. No.
Wow.
Kog'Maw.
I mean, if Nyph wants to run Alistar support, you could see Maokai Alistar, and then you would have an unkillable, unmovable, non-stop frontline if Alliance wanted to go that route. But I don't know. I mean, if you do that, nRated could pick Braum in the next rotation, have that Glacial Fissure once again, have a very powerful AoE slow and zone control. But this is very unexpected. Prioritizing Kog'Maw above absolutely everything else that was available. This has thrown me off.
It's definitely thrown me off. It's thrown Alliance off. There may be the fact that they've stopped dead in their tracks with the pick and bans. Looks like it may well be for Maokai. Currently Wickd hovering over it, but as you said, a lot of discussion going on this one. Will they go towards an AD carry and try and counter those picks? Or will they try to go for something aggressive? Will they maybe try and focus on one of those supports? Of course, with Nyph's taken away, it is going to be Morgana they focus on.
So Morgana Nami is basically the priority supports, or the ones that everybody's really trending towards. With Nami being banned away, locking in Morgana is great, but Braum is still available for nRated if he wants to go that route. And I just think for SK, maybe a safe picks here. They assume that's going to be that Maokai top lane. Let's see if Freddy wants to run Aatrox into it. Maybe lock in your support at this stage. You know, get a comfort champion to counter what you already see locked in from your opponents.
Already being considered this time around for Jesiz. There's Froggen, number of options open to him. The AD carry was locked in already. Will we see Braum once again? Who knows? Svenskeren goes for Kha'Zix in the jungle. Seen some fantastic Kha'Zix today already. And there is Ahri locked in. That opens things up. Expecting to see Tabzz on Tristana. That's almost a given, I think.
I would think
not.
so. I mean, it's one of the priority champions. But what you're seeing from SK is you've got very good poke. You know, Sven's gonna evolve those Ws, get those void spikes going out, and trying to poke people down along with living artillery, along with the orbs of deception from Ahri. And the moment somebody does take a lot of damage, the moment somebody does get low, you've then got the mobility of Kha'Zix and Ahri to just jump in there and try to assassinate targets. It's also, you know, double-handed because Jesiz has taken Ahri away from Froggen. Froggen gonna decide what he wants to run in that mid lane as a last pick. He could run Assassin into Assassin. Could go Fizz if he wanted to go that route. Could go Yasuo if he wanted to go that route. We've seen him do that before. Alliance play Yasuo as a split push, not necessarily an AoE team fight. So there are options if Froggen wants to go that way.
Well, Corki was locked in for Tabzz. So different option available to him, and it is going to be Elise for Shook in the jungle.
So mid-game power spike in terms of AD carries, going to be quite interesting. Both Kog'Maw and Corki train towards those Trinity forces and do very well once they have them completed. But a switcheroo on the side of SK Gaming, and nRated's going to lock in that support Kayle. It's something that he's done throughout the summer split, something that no other European team is at least doing. And with the protection that you're going to give to Kog'Maw, with the revive that Aatrox has got in there, and then the mobility of Kha'Zix and Ahri, SK are going to be looking to poke. Once they've got enough poke, then commit to the team fights and hope that Kha'Zix, Aatrox, and Ahri as that diving aggressive frontline will do well. But I feel like Alliance have got a very good comp. They're reactive, they're aggressive, they can play pick, they can play team fights. And if Wickd gets ahead, it's going to be so difficult to kill him.
So I see what nRated is thinking of there, but that invulnerability is very, very short. I would have thought the Thresh would have worked out better with a Kog'Maw, because Kog'Maw is incredibly vulnerable with this one. Wickd absolutely will be jumping on him. Meanwhile, it's going to be Xerath for Froggen in that mid lane.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Thresh pick. I think it would have been slightly smarter in terms of, you know, offering peel and protection. But what the Kayle also does is it gives you more of a damage threat as well. There is so much damage in SK. On the assumption they don't fall behind the well-rounded Alliance composition, they should be able to kill anybody that's put in front of them. For Alliance though, they've got a bit of mixture of everything. They've got long-range poke, they've got pick potential, they've got team fight power. SK is all about skirmishing. SK wants to do what Alliance did in the previous game. Smaller 2v2s, 3v3s, and use their damage and use their power in the smaller numbers to their advantage. If SK in this game get grouped up as a 5-man, you can bet your bottom dollar that Maokai, Xerath, and Morgana are going to be very difficult to overcome in head-to-head 5v5s.
Oh, very different compositions from both teams, honestly, in this one. We'll see how it works out for them. SK built themselves a lead in game one, but Alliance fought back and took game one. Game two coming up. Can this go all the way? Deficio seems to think so.
Well, it's definitely what we want, but it's up to SK. They need to make this very high-risk, high-reward comp work in their favor.
It's going to be a long match regardless. 56 minutes game one. Will this go any further? At the moment, Alliance ready to go. SK have made the adaptation. It's a pretty big adaptation as well.
It's a big change. I mean, this is stark contrast, complete opposite to what they did in the previous game, but it is something that they have worked with in the past. You know, Sven did play Kha'Zix in the quarterfinals and had a great game with him. We'll see if he can replicate that here at GamesCom.
Very interested to see. Remember, Kog'Maw, first pick for SK Gaming, while Maokai was available. Maokai, who has a very strong win record on 4.13. Also, Corki coming in there instead of Tristana, who appears to have risen to prominence recently. Alliance going to move in, and we'll see whether they go for any invades.
So I just want to throw a quick number at you. Tabzz has played Corki 3 times in the summer split. He's only given up 1 death, and he's got a 43 KDA on that champion, going 14-1-29. Very strong performances, though limited. And the Valkyrie is going to be so crucial to staying alive from the very dive-heavy team of SK. And I think in terms of the 2v2, if SK get themselves in a 2v2 scenario and nRated plays aggressively, he may be able to dictate the tempo. They've just got to be very careful to avoid the burst damage from low-level Tabzz.
So Nyph down the bottom at the moment. We'll see whether we get 2v2s. At the moment, it looks like we will, however, with Jesiz coming late into lane after going back to base. We'll see where he decides to go. At the moment, SK are trying the old-fashioned kill bush.
So something I also, think is quite interesting. If you combine the shred from Candy Panda and nRated in terms of armor and MR, that very tanky tree, if he's ever alone on multiple targets, his resistances are going to get melted. So you do have the potential to deal with like a super tank in a Kog'Maw and a Kayle combo. But again, the front line for SK is going to be very dependent on Freddy. He's the sole tank. In the previous game, it was Braum and Freddy, and they had AoE slows and everything to work in their favor. There's less of that in this game. So for SK, they need to adjust their mindset, and they need to now focus on maybe roaming and focusing on those smaller engages around the map.
Well, you can see right there, Jez's 100% win rate. Actually, I think it's everyone 100% win rate on Ahri. Doing very well in the playoffs. But Froggen on Xerath, fairly immobile in comparison. We'll see whether he gets caught out of position. But that Rite of Arcane, of course, has a very long range on it. Meanwhile, in this top lane, a gigantic tree versus, I don't know whether it's an Archangel or Demon or what Aatrox is.
Well, this skin would be an Archangel, I'd imagine.
Indeed.
Justicar, whatever a Justicar is. But I want to just quickly go back to the point you made about Froggen being immobile. That is very important when you consider that 3 of the members of SK can jump onto him, and then the support of SK can actually give a movement speed increase to one of those champions, with his heal. So there is a risk, but seeing just how well Froggen played in that previous game, I highly doubt he's going to put himself at risk unless it's calculated, unless he's going to have the backup of the rest of his team. So we'll see how that pans out. In terms of laning, he'll be safe until level 6, and Froggen's got enough wave clear to reduce the threat of Jesiz diving him unless it's, you know, super deep.
Well, you mentioned, of course, with nRated, the shred they have on Wickd, but what you haven't mentioned is the fact that, oh, Jesiz is going to get caught out. Repel comes out, Shook catches on towards him. He's got the damage down, and first blood is there. Quick and easy. Flash was available, but Jesiz didn't use it.
Well, first blood secured. Well played by Shook. Managed to do one. While I posed the question, wondering what Justico is, it's the English word derived from Justicaris, I believe, and it means man of justice.
Well, of course.
So maybe he's a police officer. Who knows? We'll have to see. So Alliance, they get the first blood. I think it's very important that Shook helps out Froggen in the mid lane again because of the obvious advantage that Ahri could have.
Oh dear.
Shook is on a roll. He's looking for Freddy now.
Yeah, and he's going to land straight on towards him. Cocoon thrown out, flashed out. Freddy gets out this time, but another flash burn. That's a successful gank in my book.
Very successful. Making good use of Elise this game round. You know, Shook, as soon as he got those double buffs, 2 successful ganks, 1 kill, 1 summon a spell. If Svenskeren wants to try deal with them, I think he needs to play more of a counter jungle role. Try get those missiles out, killing the spiderlings of Shook and just poking him around, harassing him, stealing jungle camps. That's the strength of jungle Kha'Zix in this patch and in this meta. And as it stands, Sven has been playing catch-up. He's responding to the aggression of Shook, so he needs to regain control, be more proactive with his play, and see if he can dissuade Shook from ganking the rest of his teammates.
So back to this bottom lane pairing. nRated originally said, of course, you know, the main reason for this strategy, for this 2 pairing, is they can push towers incredibly fast and burn down them. The question is, will they be able to get to that stage? Will they buy themselves some free time? You'd assume at some point in the game they will. At the moment, it's actually Alliance that have found their little power peak and have started to press them back.
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit of trading between the two. Candy Panda and Tabzz fairly low on HP. nRated's going to have the sustain because he does have a heal. And we'll double check if he's ranking that up. Yep, 2 points into it as it stands. Nothing into reckoning the Q. So going for sort of the wave push, the attack, bonus magic damage. And you can see they are trying to dictate the tempo of the lane. Tabzz backs to pick up his second Doran's and longsword. Candy Panda and nRated instantly try to shove that wave to the tower.
Freddy going with his touted triple Doran's, 2 swords and a shield. Not too sure how he holds all that well, but he is going to go back up to that lane after buying. Meanwhile, Wickd heading towards, of course, the Rod of Ages. Catalyst yet to be completed.
So for SK, they're losing the laning phase because of the fact that they've given up that kill in the mid lane and because Shook has had successful games. Despite the fact that they are farming relatively well, they're falling behind in the trades. They're falling behind in sort of the control of the lane, if you can put it that way. That's a lot to do with Shook, of course. So in order for SK to pull this one back, I think what they need to do is make use of the ultimates that Freddy and Jesiz have just unlocked and look to invade maybe the red buff area of Shook. Get some wards down, use the long range poke and use the very high mobility to jump onto what is an immobile Xerath and a relatively immobile Maokai.
Shook going about his jungle path. We'll see whether he decides to pop up somewhere else. nRated will get his coverage of the river. nRated spotted it. And we'll see whether the first sweeping lens that was picked up by Nyph, Nolan is off cooldown at the moment, so he can't come in and clear that one out. But keep our eye on whether more importantly, the ganking path right now for Shook. He's the one that's basically the man that's dictating the pace of this game.
And if Alliance can keep shoving the waves in, let's say Froggen pushes mid lane heavy and Tabzz and Nyph push bottom lane excessively, then that could open Dragon up for Alliance. You know, Elise is a phenomenal early game Dragon securer. Very good at taking early game dragons. That's the sentence I'm looking for. So if Alliance want to play for the objective, they can shove the waves out, force SK to respond, wait for Candy Panda to back, wait for Jesiz to back, and then go for that particular objective. But look at Tabzz and Nyph. They're the ones playing quite aggressive. That's so much damage in Candy Panda.
It's a good trade back as well, though. Tabzz took a fair burst himself. Even stuff between the two. Nyph still not landed too many of those dart bindings. That phosphorus bomb being launched from Rage. Of course, that Void Ooze goes out for free these days on this patch. Svenskeren, red buff for him. Jesiz taking away all of the wraiths. So keeping that farm, trying to keep up the farm at least on Froggen. Froggen himself is just going to burn down this wave.
Yeah, he's doing a decent enough job. Going for the Athenes first, despite the fact that it is slightly less effective. Still going to be some MR, still going to be the stats that Froggen's looking for. And with Shook's first purchase, he's actually got himself a Sight Stone and Boots of Mobility before even completing any of the Spur items. Yes, he's got the Spur Stone, but he hasn't upgraded that. Instead, investing the gold to what's going to lead to map control. His first 2 ganks were already successful. If he gets superior vision, it's going to allow them to go for those safer dragons, and more importantly, continue to punish Svenskeren, who has actually done nothing. For the first 9 minutes of the game, Sven has been farming his jungle, yet he is behind in CS to Shook, and Shook's got a kill as well as a summoner spell secured, you know, or taken down from his opponents.
Oh, he could have gone in for free down that bottom area instead. He does back away. Freddy engages on Wickd in that top lane, pops his ultimate. Wickd just steps away. It's all right, crazy fall, just keep swinging away.
Number 1, Wickd teleported to the siege minion, I believe. Number 2, he jumped into the fight and he didn't throw down his ultimate, looked for the engage, got the makings of a Rod of Ages, which makes a little bit more sense on Maokai than it did on Alistair, I think, in the current meta. But I don't really know why Wickd would go to the minion instead of the tower. It's just a little questionable. But still, staying relative, staying even on CS. We're seeing Wickd on another top laner that is, you know, risen to prominence in 4.13, and we need to see how he plays him in the team fights. I would say Maokai's a little closer to how you handle team fights, like similar to Mel fights, rather than the Alistair, because Alistair is quite interesting with the timing and how you use his Unbreakable Will.
Well, Freddy is going to go towards Blade of the Rune King first off. Svenskeren, it's found Froggen, pounces on towards him, forces the flash out of Froggen, and will follow through. Jesiz gets in, lands the charm down. Jesiz, though, taking a big burst of damage. He will get himself the kill. Now Shook's in trouble. Can he get out of there? He has to flash from his own tower. Wickd's going to try and respond. He's going to get down here just at the right moment. No, he's too late to the party. And SK, strike.
So SK took a little longer to really go aggressive than I was expecting, but the moment they do, you see how quickly Sven and Jesiz can run Froggen down. Despite the fact that Froggen flashed away, Sven and Jesiz did use their flashes as well to chase him. And because Xerath's not going to have the mobility of his flash in the future engages, there's this window of opportunity where the two of them can punish once more. If Freddy is able to shove the wave up and roam down, hell, they could even tower dive with the Bloodwell passive and use that to their advantage. So it's good to see SK actually using the comp, their team comp, the way it should be played, but they need to do that more often in obviously to build up a lead, because they don't want to go toe-to-toe. The moment Alliance start grouping up around dragons, SK will be like, nope, don't want none of that.
Well, we saw how mobile Froggen can be without that flash now. Jesiz, when that Spirit Rush comes off, and it will be much quicker than that flash, will be looking to go aggressive, which is why we're seeing Shook now paying a visit to the mid lane. Comes around, will get spotted out though. That pink ward just giving him vision. He's going to get cleared out. No, Shook. They pinged on it. They knew he was there, but didn't go for it. They will clear out and protect the dragon and start it.
So what we need to do is we need to see how Jesiz handles this Ahri as the game continues to progress. Alliance have grouped themselves up. This is going to be a 4-on-4. Teleport is not available for either top laner. Interestingly, Alliance afraid of the poke. Remember, if they stick around and get poked down, that's when SK can win a team fight. If Alliance are grouped up and they don't manage to engage, and they eat the orbs, they eat the void missiles, they eat, you know, living artilleries, you can get Ahri and Kha'Zix to jump in there and pick up those early kills.
Well, SK are the ones that are gathering for the next Baron. Svenskeren sneaking in unseen, no ward placement in that river area or tri-bush. Wickd jumped on by Freddy again. Flash engage, Soul Shackles from Nyph comes out there. Dark Binding yet to be thrown out, will be thrown on towards nRated, followed by the Cocoon. Now Svenskeren comes in to react, taken very low. Invulnerability comes out. Panda gets in, it's Svenskeren that gets the kill. And SK hit and run.
Yeah, the intervention there really working in Svenskeren's favor. Got the damage down. What was a 3v3 comes out in SK's favor. They secure themselves another kill, despite the fact it was Alliance that started. It was an aggressive move from Nyph to flash Soul Shackles, and he ended up coming out worse for wear, actually costing him his life. And a good counter again, you know, good counter, or reply rather, is the word I think I'll use.
Simply just a little bit of vision. We said that Svenskeren had snuck into the dry bush. Unseen he was, and that threat worked in his favor. Now Wickd continuing to farm on his turret here. Freddy putting some pressure towards it, honestly. He can get a couple of basic hits. We'll take a shot to the back from the tower, but is quite confident in his farming abilities in that top lane right now. And honestly, Wickd is starting to struggle.
It's just a farm fest. I mean, we've seen them trade a little when Wickd teleported into the minion and picked another fight, but not really making a very big difference. I think for me, the interesting fact is that Freddy is just not faced. He continually pushes this wave up, and he's got no real vision. There is a ward in the tri-bush, but if you look down SK's sights, there's one pink ward defending their red buff. And again, you know, Shook had very successful ganks early on. He was roaming around, yet there's still not a lot of warding down for either team, to be fair. Alliance do have some very good vision around the dragon, because it is a concern, and I think their comp can do well, as well as the fact that they tried to secure it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, Freddy is the one to keep your eye on, because of course he is the main shot caller for SK Gaming, so he's also glimpsing around the map, and I believe it's him that's just made the call. You can see him just talking about it. They're making a move towards this dragon, but the fact that the pink ward was there, Svenskeren will clear it out and back away to see if really what the movements of Alliance is. They find themselves another ward, get it just before it times out. Alliance will sneak in, quick ward comes out from Nyph. Teleport to the top lane again, to the minion. And Freddy now engaged upon, has to pop his ultimate. Wickd also does the same. Minion wave is actually with Freddy, but that's kind of working in Wicked's favor right now. Getting the damage down towards him, finally realizing this is a fight that actually may well go Freddy's way. He has Bloodwell still available. He's just going to walk back. So, teleport down for Wickd. Let's see if he keeps pushing.
Yeah, something to note, Freddy is sitting on like 17 or 1800 gold. So, Wickd just backed and bought a lot of money. Freddy may actually lose his Bloodwell. Yeah, I think he's farming up, looking for enough to buy a Blade of the Ruined King. He'll complete it, would be my guess. We'll see what he does as soon as he does get back to lane. But in terms of the two team comps, Alliance started off that dragon.
Just a little more farm. That's all he wants, just a little bit more.
Just a little bit. Just a little. Alliance started off the dragon, peeled away. They didn't want the 4v4 fight. They didn't have the teleport from Wickd, so played it very, very safe. And I feel like Alliance's team comp is going to do well in fights, but they're not looking for them. So 3v3 junglers are around. Which one's going to work? The insect or the spider? And nRated's going to get away.
They read this like situation like, we've been here before. We're not falling for this one. And nRated tries to bait them in, heals himself up and speeds away. Knew that Svenskeren was lying in wait in the bush this time around. Spider senses coming out of Shook.
Demon, I think we're going to have to quote Froggen again. When Alliance plays, they want to get item spikes, power spikes, then they want to fight. And until they hit them, they're content to farm. I mean, they won the late game. They were losing the previous match by several thousand gold. Went to late, had better positioning, made less mistakes, and punished SK. So why not rinse and repeat? They've also got a comp that's going to scale very, very well. Both teams are going to scale well, but I just think if Alliance gets to that late game and starts roaming around in 5v5s, I prefer the power of Xerath and Maokai in those big engagements.
Yeah, I feel if they SK wanted to go for Dragon, actually, I think Alliance may well let them have it. They may well put a little bit of poke down, but overall, they're still waiting for those items. Froggen goes back, gets himself a needlessly large rod and boot, so Jesiz, meanwhile, went and got Mercury Treads very early on. There is the Dragon being started off. There's a ward on it from Alliance, but we'll see whether they fight for it.
Yeah, so they are starting to group. 3 members from the river. Teleport is available for Wickd, but they're too late. SK is going to secure the first dragon of the game because Alliance were caught napping. We're not in position to contest.
Wickd actually on next to no health at the moment on this tower. Teleport was down, of course, for him. Freddy looking to go for this. Froggen coming up, though, to help out. Just out of vision range, possibly. Not too sure. Instead, I think Wicked's going to back away.
So you see the trade. When Wickd teleported to the lane, he picked a fight with Freddy. Freddy was sitting on a lot of unspent gold, and obviously came out worse for it. The moment that Blade of the Ruined King's finished, Wickd has lost the 1v1. But he's still got very good sustain and survivability, so he's just going to keep farming up under the wave. No Svenskeren's coming up for a potential tower dive. And I still think Sven has been super, super quiet this game. We've seen one gank from him 7 minutes ago. And other than that, he's been living under a rock, killing wolf camps and wraith camps. Great, yes, he's farming well, but he's really not doing a lot to help his lanes. And shook read him like a book, so managed to recover.
Oh, the moment they knew the jungler was up there, they go aggressive down the bottom. Candy Panda, intervention use, tries to turn it back around on Tabzz. Now it's called run off cooldown. Nyph does not go back towards him. And that was instant reactions this time around. Dark Pioneer just missing out. Svenskeren's been in that push every time down that bottom lane. Finally, they get themselves a moment.
Yeah, but the damage that Candy Panda is returning is very scary. Despite the fact that he got burst down very low, in the time frame intervention was up, he returned almost the same amount of damage to Tabzz. And, you know, Candy Panda can come from beyond the grave to also pick up kills thanks to his Icathian surprise. You've got to be very, very wary of that. Candy's doing a good job. He's got a small CS advantage. He's dealing with the aggression that Tabzz and Nyph are putting down. And, you know, he's obviously going to outscale Corki in terms of damage as the game goes on. But Corki's going to hit his max at an earlier state. So, you know, power plateau. Can Tabzz make better use of it?
Well, Triforce completed by Tabzz. We'll see if he does. Wickd getting aggressive upon. Freddy fancies the dive. He's got himself Bloodwell, but does not want to waste it. Just steps away and takes himself a tower.
First tower of the game as well. So SK got the first dragon. SK got the first tower. Sven is going to steal the red buff away. Get another relatively risky invade. Not very deep wards.
This tower's low.
But I mean, SK, they're doing well. You know, earlier on, they seem to be struggling in the early levels, but they picked up the first 3 global objectives before 20 minutes and are looking pretty solid.
Yeah, SK seem to have turned around their early lane phase issues. Alliance making sure that they secure this blue buff now that everything is being slowly whittled away from the outer ranges. They need to get some good vision down in that river area now that they've lost those towers. Scouting needs to be much more on point.
So we need to keep an eye on Jesiz now that he's somewhat unlocked. Because in the previous game, Froggen was on the Assassin Ahri and Jesiz was playing the Mage Ziggs. This time around, Assassin being played by Jesiz. And as the game progressed later and later, it was very clearly Froggen's plays that won Alliance the game. Jesiz will need to actually, you know, replicate that. Catch Shook, catch Froggen, catch Tabzz with good charms, with good aggressive spirit rushes. And if he can do that, it will allow them to get objective control and win those team fights. So we have a almost direct comparison between the two players and what level of impact they can bring to their team in the series.
Well, Trinity Force and Vamset was picked up by Candy in that last back off. So we'll see if they keep on pushing. This is the final outer turret of the game. Tabzz will clear this wave off. It doesn't look like they're going to go aggressive. They're just going to linger in the bush. Dark Pioneer thrown out, not landing, but look at that trade. Now you see the damage spike that Candy Panda has got. Nyph taking a burst a little bit more than he planned.
Just a couple of auto attacks and Nyph gets shredded down. So with the towers off the map in the middle and the top lane, SK will be looking to either tower dive or they'll be looking to control the jungle of Alliance. And in order for Alliance to come back, I think they need to look to maybe surprise SK, you know? Sven, he's going to show his face. Would you consider that a gank? Or would you just say it's just a gentle love tap?
Definitely a love tap, that's for sure. And Void Spike's just like, I'm here, guys. But it does do enough. They're going to back away. They're going to give up the tower.
Yeah. The threat alone is pretty big.
Froggen going in towards this one. He's going to put long-range support on towards Freddy. Wickd just going back and forward. Has got that Frozen Heart now completed. But again, you can see the damage that he puts down. Freddy with that ultimate is getting enough lifesteal. Now he's going to try and Dark Flight around. And that was actually... Oh, not enough. Oh, Dark Pioneer lands. Blood well used. The rest of the team closing towards this one. Charm does not land because that was the Soul Shackles on towards Freddy. In comes Tabzz, gets the last hit, and he'll take the kill. But down the bottom, you can see they're still pushing on towards the inner turret. Wickd teleports down here and protects it.
So Alliance even out the kills. But I feel like Wickd took such a long time to start that Vengeful Maelstrom. He was tanking up the damage from Freddy for a very long period of time. If he'd started his ultimate and got some of that burst damage down earlier, they wouldn't have needed that instant support from Nyph to pick up the kill. I just don't really know what he was hesitating for or what he was trying to prevent, because of course the damage you reduce ends up adding damage to the explosion at the end. It is just a little straight. This whole period, you know Froggen's coming up. Froggen's almost in range. Why is Vengeful Maelstrom not on? Look how low Wickd goes. That's a third of his health, that's half of his health. And Freddy's just, you know, chopping him down, trying to turn into a lumberjack. So I don't know, it's a little weird, but good reply. You know, Nyph manages to come around, gets the Dark Binding from a long, long range, and they do manage to secure the second kill of the game.
Well, while this is all happening, the siege is now on in the bottom lane. Alliance pressuring this one. The Dragons just spawned, that's what they're moving towards. They've caught Freddy out once again. Dark Binding this time, no blood well available to him, so if he gets caught out, he will not revive. Alliance, can they siege this one out? Because look at this. Jesiz is sneaking off. He's going to try and shove that mid-wave in towards the inner.
There's a Dragon up, and I think SK would probably have learned from the previous game. They don't want to pick a fight in the Dragon Pit, considering the comp that Alliance has put together. But if Jesiz can come from the side, can flank, like we were saying Alliance should have done in the previous game, then that can be his way in. DFG is available. Look for the Charm DFG combo.
Problem is the Black Shield from Nyph will negate that charm if he gets it, lands it. Oh, Dark Binding only went towards Candy Panda again. Alliance continue to poke. Look at this around the side. Oh, Cocoon so close to catching on Jesiz. Charmed is out there. Wickd has to use the ultimate. Walks away and Alliance disengage.
Alliance are the ones that are afraid of the damage. There's so much poke actually on both of these teams. You forget how many champions can just throw those skill shots out. Alliance is going to continue to group. Teleport is not available for Wickd and he is properly backing. So in a best case scenario, this is 4 on 5. Intervention is up for nRated, and Candy Pan is putting himself in a pretty solid position. So Dragon is definitely the focus, but I think wisely... Oh, they've caught Candy.
Uh-oh, that's a problem. Intervention used out right at the arcane, waiting. Tries to pop off some shots on towards Candy Panda. 2 of them hit. That's going to force them away. Look at Wickd heading down the mid lane. Alliance have pushed them away from this Dragon. They are going to stick around, though.
Yeah, so Alliance have bought enough time for Wickd to rejoin the fight, and this will secure them an uncontested Dragon.
Yep.
They did enough damage. Candy Panda ate 2 very crucial Dark Bindings. In the bottom lane, he ate 1. In the river, he ate 1. In the previous game, Candy Panda's Tristana was not massively impactful, but he had to play safe. You know, he was one of the core players. And in our pregame, we said, which Candy Panda is going to rock up? Is it the quarterfinal guy who decimated Millennium? Or is it this little bit questionable one? He's eaten a few of those skill shots. He is farming well, so I'm being overly critical here. He is 25 CS ahead, but he can't eat those skill shots later in the game.
Wickd himself had a lot there. Survived through it though. All the skill shots, everything thrown out from SK. He's going to find Svenskeren in the jungle here. Oh, showed himself. They were trying to sneak up on him. I think he showed himself. He's going to come around. Sapling tossed out. That's going to get the slowdown on towards him. Svenskeren instead will take away the red buff, and he has to back away and covered off the top.
That's back-to-back steals. No, Sven stole the previous one as well.
He's a robber.
So taking his time, once Sven is the one that got the items, he's finally...
Oh, look at this. They're waiting. SK are waiting, but the Alliance are not falling for it. Instead, they're just charging straight down the mid lane. They were trying to lay a trap, and Alliance didn't want any of it. They're going to try and push their own inner turret. Well,
we'll see who's going to have the advantage. With the numbers of Alliance in the mid lane, you have to feel it's on their side, but there is pretty strong wave clear from Jesiz.
Oh, they're going to try and catch
much
him out.
more than that.
Nope.
I don't know. I don't think they've got the full complement. They need everybody to be, you know, around the same area, because if they don't respond quickly enough, they've got
Sven in. Svenskeren intervention goes down. Cocoon follows that. Shook eats a charm as well. Jesiz tries to go aggressive on it, but again, there was the Black Shield. Candy Panda ready and waiting. The moment he drops, he gets blown off to the side. Freddy comes in from the side, catches on towards Wickd. The charm does not land this time around. Wickd backing away, backing away. Have they got enough to counter? Heal has to be used there. Candy Panda flash for it, gets caught by a Dark Binding again. Have they got the damage to follow him off? They may do. Right in the arcane, pops on one, sidestep, catches him out there, and the AD carry goes down. Svenskeren goes down, Soul Shackles comes down. Froggen gets himself a second, Tabzz goes aggressive. Valkyrie's in towards SK, and a 2-for-1 in Alliance's favor.
Another team fight in SK's displeasure. They got split up. They managed to catch Shook, they managed to kill him, but in the subsequent chase, they did not remain grouped and they didn't, you know, find the right targets. All credit to Alliance for landing the necessary skill shots, and Jesiz is caught.
Jesiz caught out Dark Binding, but he gets away with his life. The rest of the team, they're going to try and push this one. It may be an inner turret. nRated is the only defensive man. Tabzz trying to take a couple of tower hits. Minion wave, they're going to be following in shortly. I'm not too sure if anyone can get back in time to defend this one.
It feels like this is a Doom bot Morgana, because Nyph is landing Dark Binding after Dark Binding and constantly holding SK Gaming in place. So they're going to be able to zone SK away, secure their second tower of the game, close that gold lead by just 1,000. and very, very good response from SK. So this was the initial start. That was a flash cocoon from Shook as well. You know, he really, really committed all in. Good timing from Jesiz to instantly take Shook out. But I really just don't like the follow-up. SK are grouped now. They're tightly grouped, but instantly, watch how they split up. Sven is forced to go around the sidelines, farming up just a little bit. And Alliance just focus him out. Candy Panda eats another Dark Binding. And they just don't stick together.
Look at this though, SK desperately trying to get this Baron down. Nyph's caught out, Charm comes in there. Has he got enough damage to try and take him down? Leak comes out, Svenskeren will get the kill off. Dark Binding landing on towards the cocoon. Baron down to below half hit points. In comes Wickd, teleports in towards them, stops them dead in their tracks. Intervention on nRated himself. Freddy with the blood well available, trying to turn the damage back around. Svenskeren comes in, forces them away. It was one kill for SK. Baron below half hit points there. Alliance hold out.
Risky, risky call from SK. Almost got away with it, but Alliance managed to jump into action quickly enough. And another time where SK just... It feels like they're just struggling a little bit, because that Baron call, I don't want to call it desperation, but it was a risky Baron. And it's one that's cost him in the past. I do like the fact that Jesiz did hop over the wall instantly though, because we were talking about how impactful he can be on Ahri. And thus far, pretty solid. Took Shook out in the previous fight, took Nyph out in the Baron fight, and he needs to keep doing that.
We'll see how it goes on at the moment. Still very, very tight. 1,000 gold separating these two teams, and the team fights have proven that it is incredibly, incredibly tight. Dark Bindings, they've been the separation factor right now. Candy Panda has eaten a little too many of them and has paid the price with his life. Top lane, look at this. 4 members of SK pushing straight up. Alliance reacting quickly. Got good coverage of the wards. They was in the turrets. They're not falling very easily. It's Alliance though. They're going to try and take advantage of this. Going to try and move in and get some vision in the lower half of the jungle while 4 members of SK go north.
So I want to go back to the initial talk where we were contrasting and comparing Alliance in terms of team fights and how they're going to handle SK. Alliance have been a little bit disjointed. But luckily, in all of the scenarios that Alliance has been put in, they're landing those single target stuns and they're landing the CC. I also think the intervention from nRated's Kayle is doing a good job. It's saved multiple team members. It's a pick that is a non-standard support, but nRated's making it work. I mean, 002 got himself the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, and you can't deny the fact that those ultimates have been impactful.
Yeah, and a couple of times he's actually drawn Froggen to use his own ultimate. Oh, Shook caught out there, trying to skitter away. Happy to take a lot of that burst of damage. SK definitely want to fight for this dragon. Not a lot of vision from them, either team. Wards go down from Alliance. They get themselves an eye on this one. Candy Panda, though, he's pushing the inner turret while this is all happening, clearing out those wards. Dragon started out by Alliance, but only half-heartedly. Freddy gets caught out, chain CC, but again, not a lot of damage from Alliance to follow on.
Mechanically, every single skill shot connects there. Despite the fact that they didn't really, put threat. Oh, Freddy's flashed in.
Flash ultimate on towards him. It's Shook he's going to go for. Intervention goes down. Wickd trying to tank out the damage. Charms come out. Jesiz goes on towards Nyph. Catches him down. Candy Panda's the one that cleans up. Wicked's going to go down as well. It's a pickup for Jesiz this time. Shook so low on hit points. They want to try and poke this one out. Froggen, no mana available to him. They have to back out this fight.
Yeah, SK Gaming going to win the team fight, get themselves 2 kills in a dragon, and prove me completely wrong. Oh, steal attempts. Not even, that was just for the kill. And prove me completely wrong. The damage from the multiple sources of SK and the mobility is just letting them win team fights. Froggen is going to go down.
Well, that was reckless, honestly, from Froggen. Should not have been caught out of the position. I'm not too sure what he was aiming at with the ultimate. He wasn't going to be able to get the steal there, and not even close to getting a kill. So Froggen making misplays in this, showing clearly the nerves of all of the players in this semi-final.
It also looks like Alliance are just almost afraid to fight, because the moment Freddy jumped in, all of Alliance start backing away, and as they take a few steps back and down the river, then Wickd decides to sort of draw some attention, jump in there with that Maelstrom. And I was anticipating the Maokai and Morgana to be difficult frontline champions for SK to get through, but they've had no problems whatsoever. There's so much mobility in sort of the carries of the top half of SK's team comp They're just getting through Maokai and Morgana. There is no real front line for Alliance.
More damage built up for Svenskeren now. Black Cleaver picked up. Third turret of the game though for Alliance. They lost themselves the inner in the bottom lane while that was all happening. And SK Gaming once again, like game one, find themselves with a big, substantial goal lead. This time around though, Alliance, how are they going to pick someone off? That's what worked out, that's what happened last time around, but SK have tightened up the ship. That intervention is stopping these single assassinations, and honestly, other than landing Chain CC, Alliance haven't got a separate burst assassination attempt.
Yeah, that's the truth. Alliance are a lot more reliant on setting up a kill. You know, poking with Corki, poking with Xerath, and then landing those Chain CC spells to kill somebody. So I think for Alliance, maybe they need to consider sieging. Maybe they need to consider grouping up. You know, SK's initiation is fairly linear. It is reliant on Freddy or Sven jumping at you and maybe eating a charm. And I think Alliance have got more opportunities for picks, you know, with multiple single target stuns, etc. So if they do group up and have a Mexican standoff, then they can come out in an advantageous position because mechanically, they are doing great. They are landing the skill shots. So if you've got more of them, maybe one of them will connect and you can do something with it.
And they're not winning the poke fight either. That's the thing, that they do manage to land something and try and get a little poke back and forth, and it's Alliance that come out weaker. Wickd, I'm still not sure if he can 1v1 Freddy right now at the moment. Freddy has been winning out that duel every time, and they are the two that are trying to split push fight. Simply put, Freddy is the one that's pushing it, and Wickd is only going to simply fight on his tower. He doesn't want to get involved in a straight up brawl.
We'll see how he handles himself. The rest of Alliance backing away from mid lane. SK have got some better warding this time around, I think. A little bit deeper in Alliance's side of the jungle. They've got some vision around Baron, but there are enough Alliance wards there to have an understanding or the ability to react. And SK are just going to be content to sort of push these side lanes. Freddy pushed up bottom. He's now middle, the rest of the team's going top. And this is a near perfect repeat of game one, where SK slowly crawl a lead. The only thing is, have they learned from the mistakes they made last game?
Well, Alliance are trying, hoping that SK will make a mistake. Wrong pathfinding, not going to happen. They go in, they start the Baron off, and Alliance going to react. Jesiz, can he land that charm? Sapling will search him out, force him away. Baron still going down. Half hit points now almost reached as SK Candy Panda moves in. Tabzz has to come around. nRated took a big burst there actually. Charm doesn't land, that's been fired off. That's on a long cooldown. Froggen will try and turn the damage down. Flashes out. There's the intervention coming out. Freddy's the focus on this one. Wickd tanking out, separated from the rest of his team. They need to get involved. He's all on his own. Now he goes in. He jumps on the AD carry, but he's got no support. Candy Panda takes the damage right at the arcade. Is it going to land? No. Dodges out of two of those steps, and now Alliance on the retreat. Freddy pounces in there, doesn't get the knock-up. Black Shield enough to slow it down. Jesiz goes in, catches on towards Froggen. He gets assassinated. Jesiz, Svenskeren gets the lead. Shug gets taken down. Nyph gonna get dropped as well. Leaps from Svenskeren. He gets the reset, gets the double. Tabzz, the only man standing, has to go back. This is going to be an inhibitor. It may even be the game.
40-second death timers across multiple champions on Alliance's squad. I have no idea what they were thinking. Wickd goes left, Alliance goes right, and they literally left the tree to die. And nobody got involved. It looked like Alliance wanted to fight. It looked like Alliance wanted to get involved. Wickd peels away around the banana bush. And Alliance are just so disjointed. It really doesn't feel like they're all operating on the same page. And then the moment Wickd does go down, they're instantly in full retreat mode. We will have to get back to live because it looks like a Baron engage is about to come off.
Baron taking below half hit points. There we go. SK cleaned that one up. Wickd teleported in but was not able to engage. And now, big advantage for SK. 10,000 gold lead. Baron buff up. Clearly won the last 2-3 team fights without a doubt.
Yeah, no doubt to my mind. I really felt that Alliance had a better team comp in the early game, but execution-wise, they're just not doing really anything. You know, they keep getting split up in these fights, and we posed a question a while ago, how would Jesiz handle himself in the late game on an assassin? And he managed to flash, land a charm onto Froggen, almost make it work.
Ooh.
Alliance are looking for Candy Panda, but I don't know if Candy Panda is going to overextend. I really don't see him going too deep into this lane.
I think he's just going to clear that wave and then rotate up. The question is, are they ready? Oh, look at that. Leaving artillery. Hello.
I see
Time to back away for Alliance because SK are closing fast here. Svenskeren is going to get the slow. Will it land on Froggen? No. Just about misses. Freddy closing the gap, shutting the door. Froggen the target. He's going to get caught out. He's going to get taken down. The damage on him. Darkflight comes in and Froggen is dropped. And that is a disaster for Alliance.
Svenskeren is basically an assassin, and now Jesiz is a lumberjack.
Yeah, Wickd not got enough damage, and frankly, Jesiz just terminating that tree. Now he's moving in. Candy Panda pushing the bottom wave. Wickd running for his life while the rest of SK move up with the super minions straight in the middle of the base.
Very, very well coordinated from SK. They managed to find the skirmishes, they managed to find Alliance out of position, and it's SK that punishes Alliance for the mistakes. SK this time around have made the right decisions and been in the right locations. So Froggen's down for another 20 seconds and SK looks to commit to the tower.
Tower, well, look at this. Freddy happy to tank it through. Minions in there. Now, Shook dived on. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. He gets caught out. Freddy, intervention used. Wickd trying to tank this one out, but he just simply has not got the hit points. And Svenskeren gets himself another reset, another double kill. He pounces in. Tabzz now the target, the AD carry. Nexus turrets falling. SK Gaming clawing their way back into this game, and they're going to take it. It will be 1-1 all square. SK Gaming back in it. And this game is going to go all the way. This has got to be a 5-set series.
I really hope that it is, because that was a very good performance. Completely proving me wrong. SK Gaming with a massive, massive, massive damage composition just overran Alliance every time they grouped up. So it was very well played by SK Gaming. But I do feel that Alliance didn't really show up in that match. I have to question some of the decision making.
Oh, absolutely fantastic stuff there. So, SK Gaming have led both of these games.
Yep.
This time around, they didn't make the mistakes. And to me, Alliance never really got going in that game.
No.
Never got into it. Maokai was the pick. That was the one we thought. That was the key. But no, Kog'Maw and Freddy on Aatrox. We talked about Aatrox. We talked about Freddy. Freddy has his number in that top lane right now. Wicked's got to step up.
I completely agree. First pick Maokai and Morgana. And teamfight presence was next to nothing. We've seen Wickd on Maokai, we've seen him on Alistair, and he is a little uncomfortable. We go all the way back to the very beginning of the pre-match. Talk about the changes to top lane. It's new champions, it's an evolving game, it's changing. If Wickd is struggling, put him on Shyvana. It's something he knows, it's something he's comfortable, and Alliance needs him to have a positive impact.
He needs to do something that will work out for him. The last few times, I think